Hello everyone, welcome to the series on history of English literature, and this video is the second part on the novel in interwar years. And in this video we are going to discuss experiments in the evolution of a new technique. Introduction. The interwar years marked a dramatic shift in the development of the novel as writers reacted to the cultural, moral and psychological upheavals triggered by World War I, where the pre-war novel exemplified by Henry James celebrated structure, coherence and aesthetic finish, the post-war novel, led by James Joyce, embraced experimentation, formlessness and psychological depth. This transition signaled not a breakdown of form but an evolution of technique that sought to reflect the disjointed inner realities of the modern world. From Henry James to James Joyce, a transformation of technique. Henry James epitomized the structured, coherent and artistically finished novel. In contrast, James Joyce's work, especially Ulysses, heralded a turn toward a looser, fluid and impressionistic form. The goal was no longer the faithful depiction of outward appearances, but an expressive rendering of internal, subjective realities. Expressionism replaced realism and stream of consciousness became a dominant literary device, enabling authors to track the irregular flow of thoughts, associations, and subconscious impulses. This stylistic fluidity emphasized inner experience over plot, character development over action, and non-linear structures over traditional chronology. Innovations in narrative technique. The evolution of narrative form saw several key innovations. Stream of consciousness. Writing from within a character's mind, capturing shifting thoughts and sensory impressions. Interior monologue. Unfiltered access to a character's inner dialogue. Allusive and elusive style, referencing myth, memory and culture in dense poetic prose. Discontinuous time. Fragmented chronology that mirrored the disjointed experience of modern life. Recurrent motifs. Thematic patterns used to bind seemingly unrelated fragments of narrative. Authors such as Virginia Woolf in To the Lighthouse and Mrs. Dalloway, Aldous Huxley in Point Counterpoint, and Dorothy Miller Richardson in Pilgrimage series adopted and expanded these techniques. May Sinclair also made significant contributions, particularly in exploring women's interior lives and unconscious drives. The influence of psychology. One of the defining intellectual currents of the interwar period was the ascendancy of psychoanalysis. The work of Sigmund Freud, the interpretation of dreams, psychology of everyday life, and wit and its relation to the unconscious profoundly influenced novelists by introducing concepts such as the subconscious, repression, and dream logic. This psychological depth led to greater focus on sex and depression, breaking Victorian taboos, exploration of morbid mental states, trauma and fragmented identities, use of symbolism and dreams to access hidden emotional truths. Major figures like T.H. Lawrence, Virginia Woolf, and James Joyce integrated Freudian insights into their work. Rebecca West's The Return of the Soldier and the Judge explored memory, trauma, and emotional depression. Theodore Francis Powys and his brother John Cooper Powys combined psychological symbolism with philosophical narrative. Diverse experiments and the expansion of literary boundaries. Beyond the canonical modernists, several writers contributed significantly to the experimental spirit of the age. Wyndham Lewis, a modernist rebel, artist and novelist who critiqued literary modernism in the time and Western man, and prioritized intellect over emotion in novels like The Childermas and The Apes of God. Elizabeth Bowen, known for her sensitive portrayal of middle-class emotions and relationships in The Hotel, The House in Paris, often infused with psychological undertones. Ivy Compton Burnett focused on domestic settings with dark undertones. Her novels, Brothers and Sisters, A House and Its Head, featured intense psychological dialogue and power dynamics within families. Henry Handel Richardson, or Ethel Robertson, an Australian novelist whose trilogy, The Fortunes of Richard Mahoney, intricately traced the protagonist's psychological decline and existential inadequacy. Catherine Mansfield and The Art of the Short Story. Although primarily known for her short stories, Catherine Mansfield had a profound influence on modernist narrative technique. Her stories, especially those in Bliss and Other Stories 1920 and The Garden Party 1922, explored themes of isolation, emotional yearning, and harsh reality. Through economic prose, symbolic detail, and revealing dialogue, Mansfield helped shape the story as a modern form capable of emotional resonance and psychological insight. Conclusion: the interwar novel evolved into a vehicle of profound psychological and philosophical inquiry. It shifted away from the coherent, orderly narratives of the past and embraced a fragmented, subjective approach to storytelling. Inspired by psychological theories and the ruptures of modern life, novelists sought to represent not just what happened, but how it was experienced. This period witnessed the birth of the subjective novel, defined by formal innovation, emotional depth, and interior complexity. In doing so, the novel not only kept pace with the anxieties and uncertainties of the modern age, but also shaped how individuals came to understand themselves and their world. So this was the second part on the novel in interwar years. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other aspect of the novel in interwar years. Until then, goodbye and thank you.